Do I have that right? Are you going to be at Wallace Wade?
The limo leaves bright and early tomorrow morning, my friend.
I love how you travel. At this point, we should be in private planes. But either way, we didn't see this coming. But before I get into the bigger picture of the ACC, the winner of this, I mean, Duke could certainly lose to anybody, but the winner of this is, I mean, probably 50-50 ends up in the ACC championship game.
I think for UVA, if Virginia beats Duke, I think it's a lot better than 50-50 because I don't see and believe me, I know the history of the rivalry like few others, given where I work and my age. But I have seen a lot of Virginia and Virginia Tech football in person this year, and the Hokies are not beating the Cavaliers.
Okay.
in Charlottesville. And hey, I have said that before and lived to regret it. But I just think I would have far more doubts about the winner of the Virginia-Duke game reaching Charlotte if it's Duke, simply because there's two chances for the Blue Devils then to cough it up.
Well, there are, and I don't think they're losing to Carolina, Duke. Wake Forest somewhere became the team you didn't want to face. I don't know when that happened, but they became the team you did not want to face at some point during the season. They have just been very, very difficult to beat. I think that would be the more problematic game for Duke. But then again, Duke, they can turn it over a bunch. Although I wasn't surprised they lost at UConn. I think coming off the Clemson win and knowing that the three games that mattered were the three conference games. I mean, they weren't a playoff team, so I wasn't surprised. And I think UConn has been getting better and better under Jim Moore. He knows what he's doing. I don't think that's a terrible. I mean, it's not a good loss, obviously. But here's how it's a bad loss. Maybe we could take it here. Here's how it's a bad. All right. If Duke were to get to the ACC championship game and win, and a 4-loss team goes to the playoff, what is that saying?
Would a 4-loss team go to the playoff?
That's a very good question. That would get us into a James Madison conversation maybe in a second. I think they would, but I guess it's the chances are that it wouldn't.
Yeah, and Adam, let me throw even a crazier scenario. There is a plausible, though unlikely, chance that there is a 7-way tie for first place in the ACC at 6-2. And believe, here's how twisted I am. I have calculated that tiebreak.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
If that 7-way tie were to happen, the two beneficiaries almost certainly would be Louisville and Duke. You could have a 7-5 Duke team in the ACC championship game and an 8-5 Duke team as your ACC champion.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be bad for the league. Probably would not be getting a second team in. I contend that Miami, if they finish 10-2, is still going to get an at-large bid. But if Duke wins the league and they've got even 4 losses, I think we forget it. Because I think at some point Miami, they're going to look at Miami's full body of work. And they're going to go, yeah, that's a playoff body of work.
Do you have any faith in Miami winning out?
I didn't have faith. I didn't have faith in Miami being the flag bearer for the entire league going back to like week 3. So no, I don't. Although I think they will.
Okay.
But they might be doing it in spite of themselves. Hey, look, NC State could be a real problem for them this week.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, the Wolfpack had played a lot better. And that, of course, is the first of Virginia's 2 losses. Let me ask you one quick thing about Virginia Tech, and then we'll talk about the league as a whole.
Sure.
What is going on with the search for the head coach? Is James Franklin like a real possibility in Blacksburg?
Funny you mentioned James Franklin. I saw him and talked to him last night.
Very interesting.
James Franklin was on the sideline at the Troy Old Dominion game in Norfolk last night, just down the street from my crib. James Franklin used to have on his staff Gerard Parker, who was the coach at Troy, and Ricky Ronnie, who was the coach at Old Dominion. And so he was on the Monarch sideline, so I moseyed down to the field before kickoff, and he was very polite, very friendly, reached out his hand, firm handshake, slightly declined to answer my question about his interest in Virginia Tech. Clearly, there is mutual interest.
Yeah.
Whether they can get this across the finish line may even be out of the Hokies' hands, because there is a school of thought that Jimmy Sexton and James Franklin are waiting to see what other dominoes may fall, and we are looking at you, Tallahassee.
Ah.
And where does Virginia Tech play on Saturday?
Well, maybe Franklin will be there too.
Maybe.
David, can you recall if Florida State does come open? I think there's a fair chance of that. Can you recall a year in which there have been more top shelf college football head coaching jobs available at the same time? I mean, I'm not going to remember all of them. LSU, Florida, UCLA's not necessarily a top shelf college job, but it's a major Auburn, Penn State, Virginia Tech, Arkansas for what it's worth in the SEC. I mean, it is crazy how many top level gigs are available,
especially at this date, this early in the carousel. And you go back a couple of years now when Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly respectively left Oklahoma and Notre Dame for USC and LSU, and it got crazy. But it didn't get as crazy as it could have, because Notre Dame and Oklahoma promoted their defensive coordinators from in-house with Marcus Freeman and Brent Venables. So you didn't have this cascading domino effect. Now, if Lane Kiffin moves, then Ole Miss opens.
Right.
It could really jump off the rails.
I mean, this could be just an absolute, it could be like make your head you'd get dizzy. We'd all be dealing with we need Dramamine. Is that what you use if you have motion sickness? It would
Dramamine or Bonine. Those are the two go-to.
Okay, I'm going to take your word for it. David Teel, Newport News Daily Press, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. What is the solution? What would be the best case scenario for you the rest of the way in this football season? It has to involve Georgia Tech beating Georgia at the end for the league to save face. But, man, the opportunity to do that, I think, was last year. I'm not sure that's going to happen this year, although Georgia hasn't necessarily been the best version of itself. It
has not. And, Adam, you talk about opportunities for the league to help itself. Tomorrow afternoon, high noon, in the Steel City.
Oh yeah,
there's a big time opportunity. If Pitt were to win out, mean, if the Panthers were to beat Notre Dame and then Georgia Tech and Miami in succession, and have a quarterback who is at that point 8-0 as a starter, that'd be a pretty darn fine at-large resume.
Yeah, even with the loss to West Virginia on its resume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we ever going to stop scheduling Power 4 schools out of conference like we do? Like, I guess next year when we go to 9 conference games, we won't have, I believe it was 26 non-conference games against Power 4 schools this year.
Yeah, it will not be that. It will be much fewer just because, some schools in some years, especially when Notre Dame rotates onto their schedule, may end up playing 11 P4s, 9 league games, and 2 P4s. But for the most part, everyone moving forward will play the nine league games and 1 Power 4, which is required.
Right.
Now, my question, which no one has really answered, is how is Jim Phillips in the league going to enforce that? Are you going to fine schools if they don't schedule as you wish? And how is it going to be like a $50,000 field storm fine, which is a joke?
We're storming the schedule. Well, here's you're right. I don't know how it's enforceable. Here's the thing. I think the requirement is silly because you should schedule however you want to schedule. Nobody remembers. Nobody remembers who you played. If Penn State didn't have the wheels fall off their season, nobody would have remembered their non-conference schedule except people who do pay attention and like to point it out. Nobody remembered that Indiana didn't play a soul last year because or this year, right? It doesn't matter. There is no mechanism to get into the playoff that you must play somebody good in the non-conference. I am curious about 2 things about the schedule component. The first is we have an odd number of teams. Somebody is just going to play 8 league games. Everybody else can play 9. Somebody's just going to play 8. And would you say to Clemson, who's about to start this annual with Notre Dame and isn't about to drop their game with South Carolina, do you say to Clemson, for the time being, you could be the 8? How is the league going to handle this?
It's going to rotate. It will not be Clemson every year. Now, it might be Clemson in many years.
Should be. If you're going to do that, if you're going to schedule up like Clemson wants to schedule all the time, and maybe that's a bad idea for that program right now anyway, but if they're going to do that, then somebody should cut them a break.
Yeah. No, it won't be every year. And now next year there's going to be multiple teams that don't play 9, and it'll have to be an odd number for the math to work.
Right.
So you will see 3, 5, as many as 7 of the 17 play. And you think we have a cluster this year with tiebreakers and such? Oh, when you get into an unequal number of conference games, holy smokes.
Can we just add another school or like have a system of promotion and relegation? Can we just do that?
Sign me up, man. Anything that makes the math work better than it does now.
It's ridiculous. David Teel is joining us. We haven't talked basketball. We'll talk basketball in our next conversation. But real quick, do you think the Dukes are going to make a run at this playoff?
I think the Dukes are going to go 12-1. But the rankings the other night and the talk from the now former chairman of the selection committee, oh my!
It only took a week.
What is it with Baylor athletic directors? I mean,
we knew about the sideline incident more than a week ago. Why did it take so long for this to go? You know what? This probably isn't a good idea.
No, but it's more than that. Now there's an inappropriate relationship outside of his marriage, and that goes against Baylor's Christian. I mean, holy smoke!
Oh wow, it's like a whole BYU thing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Very messy. But that all being said, it's going to be a very hard road for James Madison to move ahead of one of the American teams in the pecking order.
Gotcha.
Because it's going to probably be USF or Tulane coming out of that league, and they're just going to have better wins than James Madison. Now, if the American cannibalizes itself, much like the ACC often does, and maybe Navy makes some mischief tomorrow against South Florida, and East Carolina could create some havoc in
Sure.
it. The Pirates are sitting there with just one loss in the American, but I think it's a tough road for JMU unless you have an 8-5 ACC champion in Duke.
Okay, which could happen, and that is completely bananas. David Teel, who's winning tomorrow at Wallace Wade?
Virginia.
Okay,
and I haven't heard a single person who thinks Virginia's going to win.
Really?
I haven't. I mean, all the ACCN people are picking Duke. Duke's a pretty solid favorite,
yep.
I think. But and Virginia's offense has struggled. I get that. But Duke gave up 45 points to a bad Clemson offense.
Mm-hmm. They give up points to everybody.
Yeah, and which is not what you expect from Manny Diaz. They're around 100.
Yeah.
In defense nationally, it's crazy, and they're turnover prone. And Virginia is good at turning people over. Their defense is very opportunistic, and I like Virginia's chances tomorrow.
Man, Virginia. Maybe we're talking about a Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech ACC championship game. Who knows? But if that's not a Virginia Tech, Virginia, Georgia Tech. I don't know what I said. David Teel, you'll be there either way, I know. Newport News Daily Press at by David Teel on Twitter. Enjoy the limo ride down to Durham.
I will. You be good.
You can take care. David Teel here on the Adam Gold Show.